All right, we're on part 2 of chapter 1. And this time we're going to look at the 5 regions of Wisconsin. And remember, back on your learning guide, you can see that we have the section, and I'm going to move the recording section a little here. You can see it says regions of Wisconsin, and then we list all 5. And in this area, I expect you just to list. You can write a sentence if you want, you don't have to. Just write some notes just so you can tell that really the big idea here is that the land changed from what we see today. And that big change was caused by glaciers in a lot of parts of Wisconsin, not where we live, but just so you have that idea. So let's go back to our text so we can start reading, and I will move that over so you can see. And we're here on page 11 where it says 5 regions of Wisconsin. An easy way to describe a state is to divide it into regions or parts. For example, the eastern half of the state is mostly smooth. The western half is rough. In this way, the state is divided into 2 regions. Most scientists divide Wisconsin into 5 regions. Each one has a different kind of rock formation and landform. Number 1, Lake Superior Lowlands. This is the northern tip of the state. It has some rich soil, but some of the soil is red clay. Clay is not good for growing crops. Number 2, the western uplands. Now, if you want to pause and go back and fill out your chart, you could do that too. The western uplands. This region is scenic, or pretty to see. Craggy cliffs line rivers that flow through valleys. The Central Plains. This region is fairly smooth, but it has poor soil. The glaciers left unusual rock formations in this area, such as the dells. Again, you may pause the recording and go back and fill out your chart if you would like. If you're ready, we'll go on to the next page. You can see on this picture on this page, it has a map that breaks up Wisconsin into 5 areas. So keep a lookout to each area and why the areas might have the particular landforms that they do compared to others. We're on number 4, the Northern Highlands. This area is formed from old mountains. Now they are rolling hills. There are small lakes, marshes, and streams. Soil in this region is often sandy. It is not good for growing crops. Let's go ahead and go to number 5. The eastern ridges and lowlands. This area has a mild climate and good soil for farming. Lake Winnebago and the Horicon Marsh are in this region. Now again, if you'd like to pause and rewind and go fill out your chart, you can do that. Otherwise, we'll go on to the last part of our section, which is taking care of our land. And you'll notice that when we look at our learning guide, this is where we look at the cause and effect. So as an example, it has miners dumped waste into some Wisconsin lakes. And then we look at the effect, it ruined some lakes because it really polluted it, didn't it? So let's go ahead and let's go back to the passage that we are going to finish up on. It's on page 12. Taking care of our land. First, the land was untouched by people. Beavers chewed through the trunks of a few aspens to build their winter dens. Then, Native American people came and used small tamarack trees to make wigwams. The land lay unchanged under the winter snow or the summer sun. Then the miners came. They scraped the surface of the land and dug deep beneath it. Mineral waste from mining ruined some lakes and streams. Settlers came and cleared forests for farming. Lumberjacks cut down trees for building materials. Paper companies bought wood pulp made from the trees. The forests were almost gone. Cities along the rivers and lake shores emptied their sewage into the water. The water spoiled. The state industrialized. Factories released smoke and other pollution into the air. Wonder what that cause and effect would be there if we put pollution into the air. People realized they were ruining their state. They replanted the forests and cleaned up the lakes and rivers. They passed laws protecting Wisconsin's natural beauty and wholesomeness. Today, individuals and groups work hard to keep industries from destroying the land and water, air and water. Can't forget about that, can I? They watch to prevent pollution. Wisconsin's natural state is in good shape. People want to keep it that way. So if you'd like to pause and then go back and look for your cause and effect, you can do that as well. If Miss N has asked you to read the little section on Chuck's fine, please go ahead and do so. And if she did not, you're going to skip this section and then go ahead and finish your rest of your activity. Chuck's fine. Chuck was 10 years old. He wanted to be playing baseball with his friends. He didn't want to be in the North Country watching his dad dig up somebody's old junk. It was summer, and his mom was going to school. By the time they got back to Madison, it would be time for his school to start. Chuck's dad was an archaeologist. He and his crew staked out areas where ancient people had lived. They dug holes with little tools, inching their way along the dig. They got excited over old bones and broken pottery and things that Chuck couldn't even identify. Chuck was bored. His father talked to him, but Chuck just wasn't interested. His father dug up things to learn how people lived hundreds of years ago. Who cared anyway? One morning, Chuck was sitting under a tree. He picked up a piece of petrified wood and began using it to make pictures in the dirt. His father passed and saw him. "What's that you have?" asked his dad. Chuck told him. His dad reached for the stick. Dad examined the stick. He took his handkerchief out and gently rubbed some of the dirt away. "This isn't petrified wood," he said. "I believe this is an awl made from an animal bone." Dad explained that an awl was a large sewing needle. He said that some boy's mother had likely used it to sew skins together to make the boy's clothes. Dad handed the awl back to Chuck. "We really should catalog this and put it away," he said. "But it's your find. You decide what you do with it." Dad went back to work. Chuck leaned against the tree and examined his awl. It felt different. This was a tool that someone had used hundreds of years ago. He could almost feel the owner's hand on his. The sun shone warmly on Chuck. He fell asleep. He dreamed of a boy named Maj. The boy was wrapped in warm animal skins that had been sewn together by his mother. Chuck was cold. They were in the North Country after the glaciers melted. Maj gave Chuck a furry hide in which to wrap himself. Chuck woke up with the warm sun shining on his face. He blinked, trying to remember where he was. He looked down at the awl in his hand. Suddenly, Chuck jumped up and ran to the dig where his father was working. He thrust the awl at his dad. "Please, Dad, catalog this." Dad was glad to take the awl. "Teach me how to find the artifacts," said Chuck. "Teach me how to dig." Chuck's dad was very happy that Chuck was interested. Chuck smiled. He wanted to know more about Maj. He could hardly wait. This ends the video lesson for Chapter 1. If you have any questions, please ask.